Okay, now we're live. Now we can just get back to where we were because I didn't realize you guys were ready to start already.
This is the reason nobody watches you.
Yeah, I can't do intros. It's just like you guys don't get an intro. We're jumping right into this. No introduction.
Hey,
You can read it.
so is Langley gonna show up?
I sent this
Yeah.
individual a link.
Hey, Grayson.
Oh, you mean like Fort Langley, like the location in British Columbia?
I don't know. I mean like the Big Charlie.
Yeah.
He might because I sent him the link, but he could also.
I haven't heard from Big Charlie in like a long time. I heard he's still trying to kick the football.
Yeah. The last time I saw him was like the internet was on American Madhouse.
Oh, okay. So we're already off to a good start. We have a Pulse debate to stream, and we haven't
All
even
right.
mentioned the debate.
The start
All right,
is
let's
fucking
start
terrible.
this. You want to start it again?
Well,
No,
we already
like, are we reacting to the stream or what the fuck are we talking about?
Oh,
I think we're
guess
just
we're-
talking about it.
Okay,
It would take
let's-
way too long to react to it. It was like 3 hours long.
Yeah, too long. So, I guess since Ollie was the one debating, he probably remembers it the best.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, all right. I had fun doing it. He was acting like a man-child the whole time, you know, chimping out, freaking out, rambling on and on. I think I won though. I mean, 95% of the people I've encountered since say that I've won. So, all in all, I think I had a pretty good time.
Well, you won purely by sheer virtue of inducing that
All right.
mental breakdown on the Hitchens thing.
That is true. You know, he
Yeah,
said
that's
that
true, but-
Hitchens today is more popular than Billie Eilish, which, like, regardless of
true.
what you think of her music, that's just not true. She's like world famous.
I guess I should
Compared
have
to
bring
Christopher
this up
Hitchens,
because
yeah.
you might see this come up a lot, but I decided to do
So-
some Google Trends search, and
Mhm.
I just
So
searched
Ali, even if I didn't,
Hold
even
on,
though I
Dragon.
even if I didn't see the debate, I would still say you won anyway because of how Kevin is.
Yeah, you're right. Thing is about Kevin is that he always strawmans and rambles on. Like he tries to do these complex debate tactics, but ends up failing and looking dumb.
Actually, if you look at my screen right now, you can see I actually took the liberty of like comparing Christopher Hitchens, Sean Hannity, Rush Limbaugh because they're like two other conservative commentators, and as you can kind of notice, this is the average, and Hitchens is just like in Google Trends. Even when Hitchens was alive,
He
He
wasn't
was,
even
like-
that popular, even when he was alive. And by the way,
Yeah.
he wasn't even known for his foreign policy positions.
yeah, like someone
You
like
would agree,
Rush
Ali,
Limbaugh.
right?
Yeah,
But yeah, I just brought that up. It probably won't be brought up much, but if it is, we have that. But
Grayson, you said Christopher Hitchens was not even a liberal.
he wasn't. He was a Marxist.
Yeah. His views on Iraq were fucking, like, ludicrous. Like, he unironically believes that we went under to fight fascism, but that's not necessarily the case. I would disagree with that case.
Oh, I don't know. I might show that tweet later, but also, it is kind of weird though, just to see how much they seem to think Christopher Hitchens is known when
mhm.
You know, it's funny. Even people in his own chat, the people who watch him, like,
They
Like-
weren't defending him. That was the funniest thing.
no, like they were on his side. They were just like, dude, like Christopher Hitchens, like we think he was cool too, but he wasn't known by hundreds of millions. Come on, man.
Even when he was alive, like, he was mainly known for his anti-theism.
Look, Suharto was known by hundreds of millions, not Christopher Hitchens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never heard of Suharto, but Suharto is like way popular to Christopher Hitchens.
It's also funny. He tried to say that Victor Orban Hitchens was more known than Victor Orban. Which, first
Yeah,
of all,
right.
I can at least say in Hungary that is definitely not true. At least in Hungary.
You know, it was really weird about the Hitchens part. He said that every atheist knew who he was, and he said that Hitchens was a very well-known name in American churches. Okay, I don't know how many American churches he's ever been to, but none I've ever been to have ever talked about him.
None
Christopher
for me
Hitchens.
either.
Yeah,
Because they don't
he
really
wasn't
talk
even that
about-
known. He wasn't even known even when he was alive.
You know, I think
Even-
Kevin has like this weird idea of what churches in America are like, but he doesn't actually have a clue what they're actually like.
I think he has this weird idea of what people are like. Has he ever talked to normal people? Normal people
I
don't
don't
actually
think
give
so.
that much of a shit about
I don't-
politics.
He
That's
thinks
what I tried to
everybody-
tell him last night.
He thinks
That's what I tried to tell
everybody
him last
thinks
night.
he's gonna think everybody thinks religion is like net negative.
Like my friends are all like NDP-esque. Like I live in Canada. Like they're all NDP-esque like type people. They don't give that. Like they're not that passionate about. Like they're passionate about like certain issues. Like I guess you could say they're not that passionate about politics as a whole. And they don't really know. Like they may know about Ben Shapiro from like all the various memes there are, but they don't.
But they don't know that much about him.
Exactly.
So, like, the only person I think you can say.
It's just ridiculous, his comments. And
Yeah, I was gonna say, the only person I think you could say that actually had like there's only one political commentator I think you could say is well known by most people, and that would probably be Rush Limbaugh, just
Yeah.
because of his. I mean, the guy was on Family Guy, so of course.
Rush
Normal people.
Limbaugh kind of like transcended politics, to be honest. He was kind of like a cultural figure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you could also make the case for people like Jon Stewart. I mean, he
Yeah,
kind of
same.
mixed comedy with politics.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, no, but I wouldn't say that for like Christopher Hitchens though,
Yeah. It's like,
and maybe Bill Maher. I mean, Bill Maher.
I think Bill
Mo-
Maher kind of is past his prime. To be
Yeah,
honest with you.
but he was more
I
he was more known than Christopher Hitchens.
Yeah.
is what I'm saying.
I do agree more with Rush Limbaugh than Christopher Hitchens. Just pointing it out there.
Yeah.
Like I don't even really like Christopher Hitchens, to be honest.
I don't think any of us on here really do.
no.
Like basically, you know, fuck that guy, dude.
Actually, it's funny because during the debate you mentioned
Like
that
this-
you mentioned how Hitchens supported the Viet Cong in the IRA, and Kevin
Uh-huh.
just totally tried
Just
to
brush that off.
yeah
Yeah, exactly.
He was a Marxist, but he was also a hawk. It's just like wait, no, wait. Let's go back.
he was
to the Viet
basically
Cong.
he was still a goddamn commie. I mean, come on. Am I right?
Yeah. Well, mine may be a little strong to say communist, but yeah, he was.
He was a commie that. But Kevin, he's the only person in the world that would sim so goddamn hard for him.
Yeah, that was really weird. The thing is about him is that it's like he replaced. So you know how he's an anti-theist, right? It's like
Yeah.
he replaced Jesus Christ with Christopher Hitchens, and he was like really like viscerally mad if anyone were to dare to make fun of him.
Or
though
even
that
disagree
that in
with,
2021, no one
criticize
really
him.
Well,
cares
at
about
least Christians don't call Jesus the Jitch.
him.
The Hitch. That was still the most cringe.
Kevin's
thing.
God. Kevin's God is Christopher Hitchens.
Well, no, Christopher Hitchens is his Jesus. His God is anti-theism.
He's the Lord. He's the Lord.
Hitchens is king.
Yeah. Like, and here's the thing, like, another reason why most people in America don't know too much about Christopher Hitchens, it's because he was a bloody Brit. Go back to the other side of the pond, Hitchens.
I don't even. I bet you
Wait,
20
he was
bucks.
a wait,
not
wait,
not
wait,
even that
wait,
many.
wait, 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 wait.
A
Hold
lot
on.
of people in Britain don't even know who he was.
Wait,
Don't
he
even-
was. Wait,
don't
wait,
even-
wait. He was a Brit,
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
so he wasn't even a fucking like a Maramut, is what you're telling me. He
No,
wasn't even
he
a
wasn't.
fucking burger. He was a fucking Brit bong.
Yeah.
I've been lied
Yeah.
to.
It's funny, when it comes to liberal hawks, like, Hitchens isn't even the most well-known liberal hawk in Britain. That would be
I was.
Tony Blair.
I would
Then
say that.
why
one
don't
of
they
the-
glorify Tony Blair then? Why do they glorify Christopher Hitchens? What the fuck?
No,
Well, that's
the
because
only
he's
way-
an anti-theist.
Yeah, because
No,
here's
but-
the thing.
I'm gonna put it that
No.
way. Tony Blair did more for liberal hawkerism than Christopher Hitchens.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, plus, like, Christopher Hitchens, even if he is anti-theist and, like, interventionist, he still is not, like, a liberal unilateralist. Like, they have more in common with Tony Blair than
Honestly,
Christopher Hitchens.
I think that if Hitchens were still alive, he would consider Kevin and Reese to be lunatics. If I'm being honest.
He would say that he would say that Kevin is kind of like taking him out of context
Right.
to what he actually believes.
He probably wouldn't agree with most of the interventions that have taken place.
Hitchens probably wouldn't even agree with like the whole like nuke pill thing.
Well, of course he wouldn't. Like,
Well, nobody does.
No,
That's like Kevin's weird delusion.
No, like, fucking Hitchens is a fucking Marxist who supports most of America's enemies, but he supported, like, that one intervention America did, so, like, he's a
Iraq
fucking god now.
So do you think, like, I'm making trying to think, do you think John Bolton is that, if John Bolton knew who Kevin was, he'd be suing him for slander?
Oh yeah, He'd
Yeah,
call him a
John Bolton
fucking
would
lunatic.
he would
He would
hate
denounce Kevin right away. Like even other neocons would denounce Kevin.
I mean, Kevin's not really a neocon anymore, so
Yeah, I'm saying other neocons would also hate Kevin.
yeah.
Like I'm just saying you know, Kevin, like if he doesn't really look into Christopher Hitchens. He's saying like I used to like, oh yeah, we like this guy. You know, he's based.
Well, that's why I
And
asked him in the chat.
you find out more. If you were to find out more about him, he would say, maybe he's not such a great guy after all.
That's
you know?
why I asked
Maybe
him
now
in
we
the
don't
chat.
like this guy.
That's why I asked him in the chat, how many of those books on your shelf are by Hitchens?
Yeah.
And you should have asked him that during the debate, Ali.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah,
Like,
but
did
the Hitchens bullshit
Christopher
was, like,
Hitchens support the war in Afghanistan?
Did he?
I think maybe. Wait, yeah, he did. I think it was like Afghanistan, Iraq, and not even like the first Gulf War because he opposed it until after it happened. Until
Yeah,
he
but what I'm
realized,
saying. Wait, he didn't even say. I thought he would support it, but take out Saddam Hussein.
no, he didn't support the original Gulf War, the liberation of Kuwait.
And I'm saying that would he supported it if we were to take out Saddam Hussein?
He won it because he wouldn't have
No,
supported
he didn't.
either way. If you don't support the first thing, you're not going to support the next thing in this.
That's what I would criticize George H.W. Bush for doing, not taking out Saddam Hussein back then. But still, Christopher Hitchens was against the Gulf War in the first place.
Yeah, I get what you're talking about. It's kind of a intellectual hypocrisy on his part.
It's just so weird because you could bring this up to Kevin and we're trying to ignore it because he wants to deify Hitchens.
Hitchens was only a situational hawk.
That is true.
Anybody heard of Bernard Henri Levy?
No, I haven't.
Any of you, Grayson?
I have.
Yeah, even he was a lot. I would say Kevin should probably glorify him instead of Christopher Hitchens. Like,
But it's also kind of funny.
he doesn't
So
mention
take that
Bernard
into
Henri.
the biggest
Like, he
liberal
doesn't
policy.
mention any of the intellectuals. Like,
Oh, do you guys know that he considers waterboarding torture, or he did when he was alive?
I didn't. He probably did.
No, he
But
he
I
he,
didn't-
li- he literally said waterboarding was a form of torture.
Well, probably. I mean, I thought he would support it. I thought he was like the most
No,
hawkish
no,
of them
no,
all.
not probably. He literally said that.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought he would say like I thought it would. Like I didn't know that. I thought he was like a based. I still, even though I would disagree with him, I still thought he was like a war hawk until now. You learn more about him, like holy shit. Like Kenzik, you ever thought did you ever think someone was so base until you find out about the person and then you changed your mind?
Well, I would probably think, oh, that person's not as based as I thought. But if someone's like glorifying them as like the next coming of Jesus, I'm probably gonna like call that person out. Like in the case
Yeah.
of the anti-theists and Christopher Hitchens, I mean, this guy's like far removed from being a hawk. I mean, there's Hillary
He's
Clinton
not-
and
I bet
Hillary Clinton, Tony Blair, like those are better like liberal hawk figures they can look up to.
Okay, let me. Alright. So Christopher was not even a hawk. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
Like he opposed the Vietnam War. Like,
he
that's
also
like
he also opposed NSA surveillance programs. Like he,
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought
No.
he would.
like
I
there were
thought he would
so
support that at least.
No, he supported like so many cringe things. Like he is such a cuck. He was like if not for the anti-theist, like all the atheist shit, like they would denounce him as like the biggest cuck of all the hawks out there.
Yeah.
I thought he was.
I don't think Kevin
before
really
this-
knows that much about
didn't even-
Hitchens.
I didn't. To be honest, I didn't know that much about Hitchens.
And even if he is an atheist, did Christopher Hitchens ever support like spreading his anti-theist, like atheist views across like the world, like
Not to
enacting
my knowledge.
No,
I bet
he
you-
didn't.
I bet you a lot of even there's even a lot of people in Britain that probably didn't were not fans of him.
Whereas Kevin wants to spread that kind of shit gradually over time.
Like
No,
even
this is-
people in
when
the
you say
UK like don't simp for that guy.
No, his own brother doesn't like him too much.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody really. I mean, this guy is supposed to be like the next coming. Like this guy is supposed to be like like some historic figure.
Yeah, so let's move on to another topic about the debate.
Okay. What topic do you want to move on to?
Could somebody mute, please? What's that background noise? Okay, there we go. Thank you. Anyway, I thought it was funny how he could only justify his insane views by bringing up like literally the most insane situations, like in like when we were talking about North Korea, for example.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, totally. The South Korean government is just going to surrender. And that's
The thing is, all right, I didn't really get to make this point enough in the debate because he kept like freaking out on me. But he said that North Korea would nuke the entire South. Okay, what's the point of invading and conquering South Korea if you're just going to turn it into a nuclear wasteland? That makes no sense.
I don't know. He doesn't really seem to get like.
I don't think he gets a lot of stuff.
He also
Yeah,
doesn't
like-
seem to get that politicians are like. You could literally make that same argument against George. I pointed this out in the chat, by the way.
Yeah.
Like Kevin would make the same argument against George W. Bush prior to 9/11. Like George W. Bush has no will, man. He has no will to fight the terrorists or to fight Saddam Hussein because George W. Bush was not a fucking like hardcore interventionist. Like
Yeah, I would
and
say
no,
that
Dragon,
what
I'm not done. Dragon, I'm not done. Like like a fucking war against the South would be way bigger than a fucking 9/11. Like, come the
Right.
fuck on. And like Emmanuel Macron's like changing views on Islamism and like migrants and shit. Like politicians can like change and adapt.
Politicians can change a lot pretty fast.
Yeah, like
I would say,
Kevin does
what's the
not
point of
fucking understand
Kevin
that.
like saying he supports?
You cut out Dragon.
Sorry, but I would say that Kevin trying to spread democracy in North Korea while turning into a wasteland makes no sense.
I know. Like, who are you even going to
Like-
spread democracy to? Like the 2% of the population that's still going to be around?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're
Like,
going to love.
I would say, for me, I would say this. Look, I would only nuke North Korea if I needed to be. If it was like the very last resort.
Right.
Like you want to try 100 different options before getting to that point.
I would only nuke North Korea if I knew like beyond a doubt that they were gonna nuke us first.
Like that's like the last resort. Like Kevin is like the first and only option.
Yeah, also, again, like the thing with like North Korea, they're not going to nuke the South because they consider the South to be their territory.
Yeah, they're not gonna nuke the South because like not only will that impede their own war effort, why would they want to glass a country that they want to conquer? That makes no sense.
Yeah. And the thing with like South Korea is that South Korea is one of the most technologically advanced nations and has a pretty formidable military-industrial complex. It would not surprise me if South Korea has already came up with a system.
It wouldn't surprise me if South Korea has already come with like multiple contingency plans in case the North actually does attack.
And again, like most people are going to fight against North Korea.
Exactly.
It's like-
North Korea is the most oppressive country in the world. I guarantee, like, the vast majority of South Koreans will be willing to fight against that.
like Kevin seems to think they're just so nihilistic that they don't.
The thing is,
And-
Kevin doesn't think that because, like, the reason why is he's kind of self-projecting on that. Since, like, Kevin is an anti-theist, so he doesn't really have much of a strong moral grounding. So he thinks that a lot of people are like him, when in all reality, they're really not.
Yeah.
I mean, in a war between North and South Korea, the South would absolutely annihilate the North. Like, I don't think anybody really denies this.
Yeah. Because it's like World War II technology.
Yeah, like, they
I
use...
I would still support like a conventional war against North Korea.
So, as yeah, sure. So, as I was saying, North Korea uses, like, 50s technology with, like, World War II style combat tactics. They would get blown out.
Yeah, I even support direct intervention now. Well, I mean, will Biden do something?
I mean,
about
no,
North
not
Korea?
really.
No president is going to do a conventional war.
So saying every president's like a non-isolationist when it comes to North Korea.
No.
No, they
But,
just
like,
won't start
how-
conventional war because that's political suicide.
So how we're gonna deal with North Korea? Exactly.
Honestly, I think the way we deal with them is just to isolate them. North Korea
Yeah,
is
I
all
think
bark
that we've
and no
been
bite.
like
look,
we've been
here-
doing that for like 30 years, and they're
Here's
still.
the reality:
Yeah, but they're all bark and
Iran
no
is a
bite, though.
bigger
That's-
threat than North Korea.
That is true.
I would agree
if-
with that.
And if Kevin denies that he thinks North Korea is a bigger threat, then he's like a fucking retard. Unironically.
No, I would agree with you, Kansas. I do agree with you on that. Like,
yeah.
I mean, would any of you, if any of you were in charge, would you still support on intervention, really, or?
No.
Yeah, not really
So
North
you're-
Korea, no.
I mean, are you interventionist in general?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
A nuclear armed Iran is more dangerous than a nuclear armed North Korea.
yeah, I would agree with that. I would say North Korea is more rational than Iran.
Like, I don't think anyone disputes that.
Like, I would still, even without nuclear weapons, I would still Iran as a threat. Like, they arm proxies throughout the
Yeah,
Middle East.
yeah.
They arm terrorists.
That is true. You know, another
Like,
thing I
even
wanted to bring up,
without, I would still consider regime change in Iran, even if they're not pursuing nuclear weapons.
well, yeah. So, another thing I really wanted to bring up is Kevin's point about fascism and how he never actually defined it. He thinks, so for the record, I don't think that either Hungary nor India are fascist, but it's kind of weird how he considers Hungary to be a fascist country, and yet he considers India to be a liberal democracy when India has like a lot more problems than Hungary does.
Yeah. It's weird. It's just
And India is also a lot more socially conservative than Hungary, so it's not really even that either.
yeah, it's very conservative. Like
Also,
they'll-
India is like closer to Russia than Hungary is,
Mhm.
believe it or not. And they're not
Yeah.
moving away from Russia, in spite of what Kevin believes.
Like, I would say, yeah, but India is still better than the Taliban.
Well, yeah, no one denies that. No one even brought up the Taliban.
yeah. Well,
Yeah, I would still, like Kevin would say there, if he ever were to actually go there, he would actually assume, he'd probably be dumb enough to assume that.
what's going on in your background?
I think it's Dragon's background. There we go.
Yeah, I do.
Kansik, I think you can turn your mic on.
Yeah, India. It's funny. Like, this wasn't brought up in the debate. Like, he is called. Yeah, this wasn't brought up in the debate, but he calls China a literal slave state, and then says move the factories to India, but doesn't realize India is literally considered like the nexus.
India has slaves too.
No, India is considered the nexus of like global slavery.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
which is
not-
the better option, though?
No, not just like abusive sweatshops, but actual like literal slavery.
Hey, which is the better option, though? I mean,
India.
yeah,
Like, in
I would
terms of-
say,
in terms of real politic, India.
yeah, I would still say that would be a better, like, a lesser bad option.
Again, the whole Orban being a fascist thing,
It doesn't make sense.
You can
It just doesn't
criticize
make
Viktor
sense.
Orban, but like the idea of him being a fascist makes no sense.
You know what was really weird? So in the debate, he admitted that Orban hasn't really done anything fascist, but he said that his point was that he could. All right? That standard just doesn't make any sense at all. I mean,
Yeah, that's
I
just
mean-
all speculation.
yeah, I mean, at the
To put it
end of the
nicely.
day, most people can do most things. That doesn't mean they will.
Also, here's the thing. He mentioned something about the when you asked about political prisoners, all you did was mention the protests in 2018 and how some people got arrested. Here's the thing.
which most got released.
Yeah. Only a handful of people actually got arrested out of 10,000 protesters.
Hungary
But of
hasn't
that-
had like actual political prisoners since the 1980s.
And here's the thing. Anyone who got in prison that's still in prison as of now probably got an assault charge because there were officers injured during those protests. So
Like,
You know, the Modi government in India, they literally like oppress like Muslims and workers. Like, you know, Kevin's really big on the working class.
The working class will like actually hate Kevin though.
yeah, but Kevin's already has this elitist mentality. He already does the OG thing. My OGs. He says like the anti-theism or get the fuck out. Like that kind of explains enough.
India is led by a religious nationalist party. and
Yeah,
it's
Kev,
like-
you-
It's literally considered the most racist country on the planet.
yeah,
Them and Pakistan.
seriously, like India's definitely like what Kevin tries to claim Hungary is. That's actually India.
Yeah, like that's what I was trying to say.
But even
Like,
then, I wouldn't consider
Kevin's-
India fascist.
Yes, neither
No.
would I. But I'm saying by Kevin's logic, he should consider them fascist because India does what Kevin accuses Hungary of doing, but worse. Dragon, shut up, please.
Mute Dragon.
Oh yeah, okay,
Mute him.
yeah.
All right, yeah, so that's what I was saying.
Yeah, you know what? He said this in his debate with MMI like a long time ago, but I will.
It's my TV. It wasn't me.
All right.
Okay,
turn it
well,
off.
I want to ask you,
Sorry.
like, please mute your mic when you're not talking, so like we don't hear the background noise. Anyways, he has mentioned like Polish nationalism, which is just as bad as Hungarian nationalism, and their leader is just as bad because he won just after making a comment.
Yeah, Poland is just as conservative as Hungary,
No, but their
they're
leader
just
is
more anti-Russia. That's the thing.
no, their leader is also just as bad. And Kevin, during the debate, justified all of that shit, like the leader's anti-Semitism, saying, "Oh, the Poland
Because
can't be
they're
Pol-"
anti-Russia.
Yeah, literally that. Like he said, all of it is based just because they're anti-Russia, and he didn't even consider, like, he's implying that they might be pro-Russia if they were liberal.
And the thing is, I don't think Kevin really understands what democracy is. Because he said that North Korea was technically a democracy, but they were illiberal and authoritarian.
Is
Well,
he
they're-
really using the Antifa fucking? Is he really using like what the fucking? Is he honestly like going with
Probably.
that fucking point? Like, is he actually that fucking stupid?
I don't think he. Well, part of me thinks he's dumb. Part of me just thinks he was being disingenuous.
It's hard to tell at this point.
Yeah.
Or he tried to say that like North Korea and Hungary were the same, and when you brought up the opposition, it's like, well, no, well, so does North Korea. Here's
Like,
the
no, they
difference.
don't. North Korea doesn't have real opposition parties.
No, all opposition parties are part of the ruling coalition that forms North Korea. Where in contrast, Hungarian opposition parties are not part of any coalition with Fidesz. They are independent of Fidesz. And they've united now, so now there's probably going to be a real chance they win.
So yeah, I don't think Kevin really knows what democracy is. Kind of ironic for someone who's so adamant on spreading it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does he think like Japan is fascist because they've been like
That's
a
what I said. I
one-party
said-
state for so long?
Hey, I said that, but he kind of
No, but
He
it's
kinda
based
copped out
because
of the
they're
question.
anti-China. They're based because
Yeah.
they're anti-China, and they're also socially conservative. But like they're based because they're
Yeah.
anti-China.
So wait a second.
I don't
and
think
why-
Kevin
No,
like
here's a point to make. It's why, since Oban is anti-Iran, why not think Oban is based because he's anti-Iran?
yeah.
And if you're
Exactly.
serving U.S. interests, like you're based no matter what, why doesn't he think Suharto is based? Dun dun dun.
Yeah, exactly. Like if Viktor Orban was pro-Russia, well, oh sorry, if Viktor Orban was like anti-Russia but pro-Iran, you probably still would think that he's based
Yeah, you're probably right about that.
because he probably like he has his stick like he probably in the back of his mind thinks Russia's the biggest problem.
Who, Kevin?
He could make the argument that Poland and Hungary are two separate issues, but the problem is that, like, they're not. Like, they actually enable each other's, like, illiberalism in the EU. So if you support one, you're enabling the other. So you can't fucking virtue signal about it. You are
Yeah.
literally supporting fascism, so you're just virtue signaling like a bitch. And you don't actually fucking care.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Kevin
So
Kevin
by his
is just
own
being dumb
logic,
about
Kevin is a fascist. Kevin is a fascist by his own logic. By
Yeah.
by
It's
saying
like basically
Polish
fascism
nationalism.
for me and not for thee.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yes.
Kevin
You know,
is a fascist.
He called me a fascist, like unironically.
He also
Also-
called you the Persian Virgin.
That's kind of ironic considering how he's literally a virgin himself.
Actually, here's a real question since you are Persian. Do you
Yeah.
own a white BMW? I need to know these.
My family owns a silver one, not a white one.
Oh. Then you're not a real Persian if you don't own a white BMW. But that was
So-
just skip.
So yeah, kind of an interesting thing happened after the debate. So after the debate, obviously, I went to bed. I was tired. I woke up in the morning and like someone sent me Kevin's debate post stream, and one of Kevin's friends hopped on his stream pretending to be me, and Kevin and Reese. It was kind of funny how they like pretended that it was me, like unironically, even though that person's voice sounded nothing like me. I think
I bet
Kevin-
you it was like the same. He also had somebody try to pretend to be Hawes.
Yeah, and he had someone try to pretend to be Net 7 at one point.
I haven't seen that. I have
think
not seen that.
I know who you're talking about, and the reason that this person did the joke makes it even more cringe because it's Neil, and he's the biggest robot of them all.
Oh, he's like a brain dead NPC.
Well, they kind of all are to a point. Yeah, so that was kind of funny. I think at one point Kevin actually thought that Neil was I was actually me.
I don't think that.
No, I just no.
Okay.
He's just really good at playing along with things, like. And I think that's one thing he's good at. Like, if he wants to be, like, that's one thing he's good at, in regards to entertainment value. Like, just playing along with whatever shit show. Like when he says, like Vosh is in trouble with the international community. Like him, Japan, and Norway, they're in trouble for whaling, and he just sounds so casual and serious about it. Like
Mhm.
that kind of humor. Like he's really good at that. Like I'll give him credit there.
Yeah.
And he just sounds so
Grayson-
serious, like thinking it's actually you. Like he's good at that kind of humor. Like if you know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
Hey Grayson, so where's the link that someone tried to pretend to be Net 7? I haven't seen a video of that. Like
I
Wait, I don't
have
think it was
the-
Net 7. I think it was someone else.
no,
it was-
someone
yeah,
tried- someone tried to pretend to be Net 7 as NPC 7 because they don't like Net 7.
Yeah, but
They
which
really
video
don't
did they
like
do that?
Net
Do you know?
7. Like, who the fuck cares? It's just like he's just a guy. Like,
Exactly.
Yeah, well,
People
Kevin
like
has
to
a weird,
fuck with him for
vindictive
some reason.
personality.
Like,
he's
Yeah, I know.
literally just a guy. Like, just
No, honestly,
I don't know.
Kevin's
For some
actually going to be
reason,
good. Kevin would actually make a good bread tuber because he's always infighting.
and super disingenuous. Yeah.
yeah. So what I would say, like, where's that video for? Where's that video? I
Well,
don't
I don't
think
know
I've
which one
seen
it
it.
was.
When was that video exactly?
I don't
Grayson?
know. I
Okay.
I don't know what video it is. Like I couldn't even give you like a guess on when
I
it
think
was
like
made.
for some reason people like to fuck with that guy. Like they got
They
nothing
do, and it's
better
really
to do with their
weird.
life. Yeah. And he's just some random guy in the internet.
Hmm.
I mean, there's 10 billion people out there. You can literally screw around with.
No, it's funny because he always seems to think you're some sort of parrot who just says everything Asuka says. It's very weird.
Hmm.
everything. Yeah, Ahsoka's like the mastermind of everything that goes on.
Yeah.
Yeah, just never mind the fact that I'm like, I'm not sure about like Dragon's beliefs, but like most people in like the community, like our community at least, are like socially conservative. I'm not actually socially conservative. I'm like a blue Tory.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I don't really parrot anything Ahsoka says for the most part.
Well,
I'm
I
a
don't
bit
even really parrot anything
socially
Asuka says either.
conservative
Like,
myself. I'm, to an extent, I would say, more mishmash or whatever. I'm, in a sense.
I guess the thing, I can definitely conclude that I know way more about Hungry than Asuka does. So I don't. So do I parrot him on Hungry, even though I wouldn't have to because I would know more?
Hmm.
And Hungarians are like European Mongoloids.
Hmm.
I am a Mongoloid, and I'm proud of that.
Hey, don't you remember when Kevin put up like a fake person trying to be a Kanzuk?
He did that?
Yeah, he did.
Oh my god, wow. Did he address me by my real name too?
Yeah.
Wow, what a faggot.
Hmm.
That guy needs to get a life.
But here's
He's
the thing,
not
though.
gonna. You know, Kevin, he's not gonna have kids. You guys know that, right?
He's gonna
Yeah.
say, like, I can't have kids, I'm spreading the hawk pill.
Yeah, he's
Like,
not gonna have
the
kids. He's
dude, he's so goddamn obsessed. Like, he keeps talking about Hawes, but like, you can say whatever you want about Hawes, but Kevin never shuts up about him. I mean, I for some reason I do believe Hawes is entertaining, but just by listening to Kevin, like I'm so burnt out of Hawes because of that.
yeah. Kevin just doesn't let go of stuff for some reason.
Wait,
He's still talking at Lee. Like, he's still talking about Ian Stevens.
Wait,
Oh, yeah, I know, right?
You're telling me you don't like I can be way more racist than you? Have
Hmm.
you guys seen that?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
have.
I love that. But again, I guess you can get Kevin just goes way too far with Paul's and stuff like I can be way more racist than you. It's just good as like a clip. It's a funny clip. more or
Yeah,
less.
that's kind of funny, I know, but Kevin, for some reason, like, is the reason why I'm burnt out with the stuff.
So generally, I think I had a pretty fun time there because, like, you know, Kevin freaked out. Everybody saw him freak out. From what I saw, everybody in the comments was agreeing with me. Even a lot of Kevin's fans didn't even defend him.
Yeah, I saw one guy. He was just like, "Wait, Kevin, So America can't win a nuclear war with North Korea, but we can win a nuclear war with Russia.
Yeah.
Also, I just gotta point out the fact that Reese tried to have like the King Leonidas thing on his profile to own the Persians apparently, except the Battle of Thermopylae.
King Leonidas died at the Battle of Thermopylae.
Yeah, the Persians won that battle. So
Yeah,
guess
I know. Like, if anything, it was my ancestors that watered the grasses of Thermopylae with the blood of Spartans.
Meanwhile, my ancestors were still being dipshits back in Central Asia.
I guess so.
Like, I wonder if Kevin will actually get more hardline on his position on Russia.
How would you get any more hardline than it is now?
Like, I got a feeling that he could change his position on Russia. Like, pretty soon he's going to accuse neoconservatives of being weak on Russia, or like being Putin simps.
That would be quite the accusation.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to do that. I bet you $20 that's going to happen. I guarantee it.
Yeah, probably it will.
Also,
Yeah, to where he'll
I
like,
still
oh,
don't
you
get
guys
this
are
logic.
Russian assets or whatever. Like,
I'm still trying to get the logic on how North Korea is ever going to get 1,200 nukes.
how many do they
Derek.
have now? 60?
Yeah, they're not going to get 1,200 nukes.
I'm pretty sure they would get 110, but not 1,200.
And again, how well are those actually going to work?
No, they're gonna get 6 Gorillion nukes in like 10 years.
You know, they're going to get 6 Gorillion nukes. They're going to get ICBMs that can hit Jupiter. And it's all going to work perfectly fine. Like, I'm kind of convinced that maybe some of the nukes they produce aren't even real nukes. They're just there to the pretended nukes.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they're all real nukes, but like, let's be real. They're not gonna fucking nuke America.
I know, right? So I'm just rewatching the. Well, I'm not really rewatching it. I'm just looking at all the comments in the Kevin debate in the live chat when he was freaking out about Hitchens, and like it's so funny to see like literally everybody in the comments just like trolling Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny how, like, usually in the chats, it kind of, like, all defend him, kind of pro Kevin.
But this time, like, everybody was anti-Kevin.
Did it maybe even people on his side, like, oh, I like Kevin, but he's wrong on this specific issue.
But, you know, most people don't typically like to watch some grown 27-year-old man talk about how he probably wants to fuck Christopher Hitchens.
Oh, Hawkwatch commented, here's the difference. India has free elections in Hungary?
Wait, what?
Hungary?
Wait,
As
what
in
was
what?
that?
Hawkwatch commented on the stream. Here's the difference. India has free elections in Hungary, as in like, I'm hungry, not Hungary. Hungary doesn't.
Well, they both do actually.
No. He didn't say Hungary. He said hungry, as in.
I don't know where Hungary is. I guess it's an African nation.
I don't
guess
know.
so.
I don't know. I'm kind of hungry right now. I'm in the mood for
Yeah.
pizza.
Damn.
Don't do that because Hungary doesn't have free elections.
Do you mind if I mention one thing real quick? Like, kind of like, one thing off topic real quick?
Sure.
Then we'll get right back to it. I don't really have anything against the founders of this nation. Like they were good for their time.
Oh, and there's another comment from yeah, I don't think anyone is against the. Actually, Reese literally said that like in one of his own
Like,
streams.
Thomas
not,
Jefferson
in,
hated slavery. That he kind of believed that you couldn't get rid of them all at once. You can look at it
in one of Kevin's own streams, Reese literally made that point. Like, the leaders of the past were progressive for their time. So, like, yeah. So when Hawkwatch, okay, so when Hawkwatch makes the point, Teddy Roosevelt was a well-known racist and eugenics person.
Yeah,
and
nobody. Yeah, let me just say that.
And Kevin
I don't care.
Kevin favorites that comment.
Let me just say that. I don't care. Okay? The standards were a lot different back then.
And that doesn't mean that Ali favors those policies. Like,
this
what?
Is a hard. All right, I'm about to say something. This is a hard take. I think people need to get over this guilt that
I don't even think it's a hard
slavery
take
in the past.
I don't even think that's a hard take. I think that's just common sense.
Yeah, we need to get over the idea that once upon a time there was slavery.
Yeah, so
and focus on the positive aspects of a nation. Like you can say whatever you want about
Thomas Jefferson. Logic,
yes.
Hold on, Dragon. If you want to go on that logic of like judging every leader of the past by modern standards, you would get pretty much no good leaders. All right, pretty much every leader up until like the mid 20th century would be morally questionable by today's standards. Literally every single one.
Yeah, so
you have to look at the standards of their day and the proportion.
The Three-Fifths Compromise was necessary.
Like for Teddy Roosevelt, he was actually not as racist for his time. You know, you have to look at the proportions of those days, and you have to average them out with the proportions today.
And again, I cannot stress this enough. Reese makes this same point on their stream. So unless Kevin wants to say Reese is wrong.
Okay, so what I was saying is that the Three-Fifths Compromise was necessary at the time.
Yeah.
Right. They could not get rid of everything at once. That means that there would have been more slavery if that would have been the case.
We probably would have had a civil war right off the bat had we not done that.
And the pro-slavery side would have taken over.
Yeah,
conversation.
Yeah.
Also, not sure how India has free elections and Hungary doesn't.
Wait, where are you reading these comments? I can't read them.
You have to sort by new. I guess this Hawkwatch person is shadow banned or something, because nobody likes them.
Let's see. Sort. Huh, I still can't see him. Oh, well, that's fine. So what were they saying about Teddy Roosevelt?
Well-known racist and eugenics person.
Well, he wasn't really even a eugenics person. That's not really even true. He was friends with some eugenics people, but he was never really that big into that himself. As for him being a racist, he was actually not super racist for his time. By our standards, yeah, but everybody would be by our standards.
Well, you know what? Our standards are the only ones that matter. If you wouldn't vote for Obama in 1909, then you're a fucking you're a terrible person.
If you would not have voted for Hillary Clinton in 1788, you're a sexist, bro.
Yep.
No, I prefer Napoleon's method. Bad infrastructure? Throw it in the trash. Corrupt government officials? Throw them in the trash. Women's rights? Throw them in the trash.
Yeah, I do feel like talking about Net 7 about that, about about the history of this country. But for some reason, he's taking a break.
What are Kevin's sources for like Hungary being like Russia in terms of like their election integrity?
I don't think he has one. I think he's just literally just making it up.
Yeah, like he doesn't like. I've never seen that anywhere.
I guess you could argue maybe the media in Hungary is biased towards Fidesz. A lot of the institutions are, but
Yeah, but the same thing could be said in America for the Democrats.
yeah, I guess. I mean, here's the thing: like Hungary is still described as a flawed democracy. So the people who make the democracy foundation, the people who determine whether nations are authoritarian, hybrid regimes, or democratic, have said that Hungary is a democracy, a flawed one, but a democracy nonetheless.
Okay. I would say it would be wild speculation to suggest that Thomas Jefferson was a Confederate before the Confederacy.
What?
I'm just saying that would really be inaccurate.
Oh, also, apparently Dan Crenshaw just did a speech on why pulling out Afghanistan was a mistake, so that's pretty based.
Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly think we should do another surge
A surge where?
in Afghanistan.
Oh yeah. This is something you won't see from Kanzik shared the link. Hungary wants EU position on Iran to be closer to U.S. stance from Viktor Orban himself.
Based.
Like, if there was
okay,
a chance,
Go ahead,
if there
Dragon.
was a chance, like I would say that probably if you get more like right-wing candidates in Congress in France, France could pull out of the Iran deal. I'm saying that the possibility. I'm going to say that the possibility could be there. I
don't know.
obviously Emmanuel Macron is not, but I would say France could exit the Iran deal in the future.
I'm not. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know too much about French politics.
You were going to say something, Kanzik, about?
I don't know. I think you mentioned this earlier, but if Poland being like nationalist and a flawed illiberal or fascist, as Kevin would put it.
So, okay, can I just say something real quick?
Yes.
So, in the debate, when I said that Poland is an illiberal democracy, I don't mean that they're not illiberal in the classical philosophical sense. I mean they're illiberal in the sense of modern liberalism in practice.
You're talking about what they do in practice compared to what the ideals are.
I'm saying they're not really illiberal when it comes to like when it comes to classical liberalism. They're not really illiberal when it comes to liberal philosophy, like the greater liberal philosophy. They're just illiberal when it comes to modern practice of social liberalism.
Okay, well, Poland, along with Hungary, is also considered like a flawed democracy. And, if a flawed democracy, which is illiberal, in the modern sense. Like I know what you mean, Ali. Like I know what you're talking about. Like small L as opposed to big, as opposed to like progressivism.
Yeah, because I would even consider myself to be like illiberal in the modern sense.
Like Kevin will insist it's based as long as it serves U.S. interests. Thing is, Hungary in a way serves U.S. interests by attempting to shift the Iranian position in the EU. So like, just putting that out there.
Yeah.
I will say this: credit where credit's due.
Okay.
Yeah, like the thing with like Oban is that unlike other like pretty nationalists like you get from like right wing populists where they simp Middle Eastern dictators, Oban is not really like that because he thinks that most Middle Eastern dictators are just anti-Christian extremists. So in a
Which
way,
is true.
yeah, and also in a way that kind of makes Christian nationalism the more humanitarian ideology.
Yeah. Also worth noting, Poland actually has relations with Iran. Hungary doesn't.
You know, I've actually been to Hungary. It's actually a pretty nice place.
Yeah, but don't go there because you might get rounded up.
Huh.
Become a pawn for political. You somehow become a political dissident, even though they haven't been collecting political dissidents in the country for a really long time.
Yeah, that's just fear mongering.
Like here's the thing: like not even under the Kadar era would you get arrested if you were traveling to Hungary and you spoke out against the government.
You know what I really want to know? Where does he get
What?
his sources from? Like, what sources does he even use?
I don't know. Actually, yeah, that's the thing.
Bro,
You
he
know,
probably uses RT, and he probably thinks that's based. Wouldn't be surprised. Probably. I'm just saying he probably does, but he's probably a bit more unironic.
I wouldn't be shocked.
It's funny because just today, Jay compared Hungary to Syria, saying how they were. It basically was like, we got to do regime change in Hungary and
Oh,
Syria.
that's so stupid. That is just so stupid.
As much as I know I'm a neoconservative, but regime change in Hungary is dumb. Let's be honest.
Well, here's the thing. What are you going to do? Declare war on Hungary? Hungary is a NATO country. So
Like,
what if.
Does any of you think neocons would go to war with Hungary?
No.
No.
No, but Syria is a completely different situation. I mean,
Here's the thing.
Hungary is not a state sponsor of terror.
And here's the thing. Hungary is a NATO ally. Technically, if we declare war on Hungary, they could call in America. And then America
Yeah, I
would
mean,
get
you
war
might
with
as
America.
well. Yeah, but you might as well go to war with Turkey at this point. If we're going to go by that logic.
I think Kevin
I
does
mean-
support war with Turkey, though.
Yeah, even kicking Turkey out of NATO is a pipe dream.
Yeah.
A lot of his positions are pipe dreams.
It's kind of funny how, like, the only way he can justify his insane positions is by making equally insane scenarios.
Yeah. See, I'm still trying to figure. Like, here's the thing. Like, if you really want to do a regime change in Hungary, you can just rig the elections in favor of the opposition. You don't even have to go in.
Or just do a coup.
You don't even have to do a coup because there's an election in 1 year that you could just rig.
Yeah.
Probably it'd be easier just to rig the election, to be honest.
All right.
I don't know. He probably wants to subjugate like all Hungarians, though. Like, let's be real.
Like, the guy is.
And the thing is,
fucking-
Kevin,
is
he-
kind of racist in this.
No, really?
Kevin is. I mean, in a sense to where he's kind of not racist, but like he's kind of like in a sense to where he's bashing Hungarians. Like with Grayson, he said like go back to Hungary or whatever. Like.
Yeah, that's always interesting. It's interesting how much I saw this guy has some sort of vendetta against Hungary.
You know what's kind of weird though is that I made this point that Kevin didn't really respond to. I said that he wants to go to war with countries via trivial and subjective reasons. All right, he's saying that he wants to go to countries to, as he would say, quote unquote, spread sexual freedom, whatever that means, regardless of the previous culture of that country.
Yeah, I would say, Ali. So what I would say here is that Kevin, do you know that meme where you have like the LGBT tanks
Yeah.
in the LGBT 52 bombers?
Mm-hmm.
Like this is for Kevin. This is unironic for him.
Yes, that is true. Like he unironically believes in the whole like dildos for Iran thing.
Like a woke imperialism, but
No, like,
unironically.
it's like gay imperialism, like the Gray Zone said.
Like he probably cites the gray. He probably does cite the Gray Zone.
Imagine if the Gray Zone just,
biased.
imagine if the Gray Zone just learned about him. They'd be like, "See, we told you it was real.
So I
God.
I knew it was real."
I imagine Max Blumenthal, since we pretty much
Like-
know he's a grifter, he doesn't. I don't think he actually believes what he believes. But the thing is,
Can
I
you
think
mute
if Blumenthal
Dragon?
were to ever like just listen
Oh
to
yeah,
Kevin,
sure. Shit, there's
Thanks.
still noise in the background. Shit. Sorry, guys.
That's all right.
Okay, I was just gonna say, I would actually think that if Max Blumenthal somehow met Kevin and learned of his positions, he'd probably think, "Holy shit, they actually exist." I thought we were just making them up.
Actually, you're right.
I don't think they would expect someone to unironically believe that. Just like, okay, this seems unbelievable, but to believe me, these idiots would buy it. Actually, this guy's legitimate. Really?
He would get a lot of like infamy from the Gray Zone. Like they would highlight him forever.
Yeah.
They're like, "We told you the gay imperialists were real. Look at this guy."
I could just imagine him being on like Jimmy Dore, be like, "See, here's the gay imperialist we were warning you about." And honestly, yeah, there are some like things with like the U.S. foreign policy that I don't understand. Like when we raised the LGBT flag in our embassy in the Vatican City.
Yeah,
like,
that's that.
I've
It,
heard
it, it, was, it wasn't
unrealistic.
Vatican
Kenzie.
City. It wasn't Vatican City. It was Baghdad.
Hey Kenzie, did you tell me that they lowered like the LGBT flag in Iraq?
Yeah, because people like got Iraqis like fucking like got really mad about it,
Yeah,
Also,
but
they-
and that was Ali's point about like culture. Like,
About realism, yeah.
do you really think that Kevin? I wonder what Kevin's nation building plan would be like for Afghanistan.
he would re-implement Bachabazi because he thinks it's more progressive.
He would probably use my dildos and plus that, degeneracy.
I'm
He
not
would
sure.
probably-
Do you guys know what Bachabazi is?
Isn't that
Yeah.
thing where
It's
they
like
make-
kind of like culture to where they rate kids and stuff like that. Like,
But it's more
but like I
progressive.
think we
'cause
had a
it's like-
policy.
it's
We had a
gay, so it's more
policy-
progressive.
I think we did have a policy to where we couldn't do anything about it because that was our culture.
It's their
Where we're not
culture, but
allowed.
it's also gay, so it's like best of both worlds, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's like Hannah Montana said, "You get the best of both worlds."
Actually, here's a funny thing. You know, during the post show, he actually said that the reasons why the experts don't say what I say is because they would get fired.
No, I think the reason why the experts don't say what he says is because they're not lunatics.
Yeah.
And you know, they would get
Yeah.
fired, but that
Even-
doesn't mean that doesn't mean they actually hold those beliefs.
Let's just be real. You're never the people. The Afghani people are never going to be woke.
Well, yeah, that's true. And if I may make another point on that, so on the cultural point, I understand doing like some cultural reforms, like if you beat a country in a war and you really want to have them reform. But the point is, you can't just erase their entire culture and history. I think Kevin doesn't understand that.
Well, you wouldn't erase history, but even if he doesn't want to erase their history, it would be hard to implement degeneracy.
That is true.
Well, no, he prefers
Yeah,
to keep
like-
degeneracy where it exists, like Bachabazi.
Like, I'm just saying that even if he doesn't want to erase history, he probably does want to like spread add like, you know, social justice warrior politics, which isn't possible.
Bachabazi for everybody.
There you have it, folks. We already have Bachabazi in California.
That's disgusting.
We already
So
have that now.
California straight
We
up
already-
sucks.
You know,
Yeah.
California is literally my entire argument against liberalism.
Exactly.
Right there. The entire state is just one big argument to why liberalism is a failed project.
Hey, Ali, do you think
Yeah.
Dan Crenshaw would support another surge?
You kind of cut out there. Can you repeat that?
He would say he would that position, but do you think Dan Crenshaw would support another surge in Afghanistan?
Probably not supporting another surge, but I think he would support like leaving it, but leaving it in a different way, or maybe just not leaving it at all. You know, I think
He believes like he
I think
believes
he
like
thinks that we
leaving
need to
slowly.
phase out.
Yeah, he believes like we need to slay it. He's probably with me. I would support another surge. I would send like with me. I would send more troops to the battlefield. Like no,
Let me
you
guess,
got. I would argue.
100,000
I would
in
argue. I
Afghanistan?
think we had troops in Pakistan at one point. I would argue that we should have never left Pakistan.
We never should have left Afghanistan in like the 90s.
Wait, when were we in Afghanistan?
I would agree. I would say, and
There-
I would
there
also
were-
argue that we should have
there
never
were
left
special-
Pakistan either.
There was a special forces presence,
Oh,
and you know, then the Civil War, then the Taliban.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, they should have built bases there at the time. Like, I don't think it would be a problem. Like, we have bases like in Germany and Japan. I'm pretty sure we can be everywhere. Am I right?
oh, also
Hey,
another fun fact. This is kind of off. It's kind of going back to the Hungary thing. You know, Hungary has like very strong relations with Israel too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Grayson, it's been really fun, but I think I'm gonna have to
that's
go
something
now.
nice. But Hungary,
Yeah.
Hungary
I'm
is not
gonna-
even. All right, Ali. So one thing. So
Yeah.
Hungary. So Ali. So Hungary is not even hawkish. All right. I'll have to repeat this again. Like, Hungary is not hawkish, but like, it's not what Kevin thinks it is.
Right.
Anyway, I guess with that, I'll end the stream now. Unless anyone has any final remarks.
Oh, I wanted to make like one remark, which may not be related to the current debate, but something Kevin has said. Like, he seems to be kind of anti-Azerbaijan because it's like allied with Turkey, even though it's anti-Iran, just like Hungary is, and it has good relations with Israel. And I don't know, Kevin just seems to have these weird petty vendettas which aren't even rooted in anything rational. It's just so fucking stupid.
Anyway, guess with that, I end the stream. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see
All
you.
right.